Hi everyone, this is Greg from Greg's Whiskey Guide. This is my first whiskey review for my YouTube channel. It's impressive, and well, I was wondering, what will I do? Will I do it in French to start with, or in English? And well, I said to myself, let's try to start in English, and I will do other videos in French. So, soyez rassurés, chers compatriotes, vous aurez aussi des vidéos en français, car il y a un certain manque, il me semble, dans ce domaine, alors que chez les anglo-saxons, il y a énormément de chaînes YouTube sur le whisky. So, to get back in English, well, I said, well, why not start with the generic topic, basics, as I said, such as the knowledge statement question, which I heard a lot about, which I commented a lot about on other YouTube channels. And I said to myself, well, instead of picking different things and letting things here and there, and let's summarize a bit the question in my point of view. Of course, it's my opinion and my experience I'm sharing with you. And let's first explain that, in fact, the N.A.S, or knowledge statement phenomenon, is not a recent phenomenon. So that's why, or trend if you prefer. So that's why often I have to explain to people that the origin of Scottish single malts, for instance, were often no age statement whiskies back in the 60s, or low age statement whiskies, 5 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, but not much more in the beginning. I don't know really why, honestly. I did some research and I can't really pick up a reason, except the need to sell quick, probably, and also less demand, of course. I often speak about that, and about the fact that from the 60s to the 90s, for me, it's the best era probably of whiskey in Scotland, because they were starting to commercialize single malts, and there were not many demand for that. The blend was more powerful, but there were not so much connoisseurs as now, and not much demand for mass market whiskies. So when the first, what I call historical N.A.S generation whiskies were released, for me, seeing what's going on now with recent trend of no age statement whiskies, I think it's simply nothing. They have nothing to do with them. They are completely different. It's not a question of shortage of older cask that brings companies, especially big names, to produce no age statement whiskies. No, for me, it's they need to have more perspectives in creating things, and also they need to do more money. So well, it's a bit fun, because I've seen advertisings that I was saying in the early 2000s for some brands, because age matters. Ahaha. And yeah, they were 15 years old, 18 years old, etc., less than 100 euros. And then for a few years now only, age doesn't matter, only the wood matters. So yeah, give me a break. That's the, in the early 2000s, for instance, in 1999, the Abelauer, which is for me one of the best and the oldest no age statement whiskey, single malt. Here it's batch 46 at 60.4, yeah, from a few years ago, one of the best I reviewed on my website, www.gregswhiskyguide.com. The range of the casks that were in there were running from 3 to 5 years old for the youngest to, I was told, 25 years old for the oldest. Of course, I do not mean there are 20, 30, 40% of very old casks in there, but compared to some more recent batches, it shows. I've tasted the first one, the 1999, and it's completely in another league with first the No.H statement whiskies for now, but also with even this one, which is very good, because there were much older casks in there at the moment. So as the master blenders were more keen to use what they wanted to create a whiskey that was different from the No.H statement from now, also in the fact they were representing the company's house style. It's something difficult to understand now, where we are in mass market productions, and No.H statements mean something completely different. It's one often forget to say it's not only No.H statement in itself. I don't care if it's good. It's good. No.H statement. It's not my problem, as long as the price and the taste is good. But it's about wood technology. What we say, wood technology, and I must add now wine trend as well. So some companies tend to hide the weakness of the cask or of the distillates through a second or third finishing in a wine cask or wood, heavily charred wood cask especially. Sometimes when it's well made, it can give beautiful results. It's not a big deal, but most often I think it's to hide bad casks, or average cask, or to stand out from the others, the concurrency. But like I said before, if you take, for instance, the CV that G&A Mitchell did a while ago, now this version is rebranded as Longrow Peated, you have to know that. So from Springbank Distillery. And this expression that existed through the three brands, Springbank, Hazelburn and Longrow, was from 6 to 14 years old casks in there, I've been told by the company. So it allows them to quite use a big palette of aromas, of styles, to do a beautifully crafted peated whiskey, in my opinion. And so it was the same, one has to say, with Lafroig, another historical, yeah, probably for anoraks. Another historical No.H statement, finished in smaller casks, but for the best batches, the oldest ones probably, it's the same, a wide array of years, so it allowed them to do a lot of things. So did also Jura Superstition at some time, also up to 15 or 18 years old in there, whiskies, and they're slightly peated. This version, unfortunately, is discontinued now, and the rebranding is not making me very enthusiastic so far. I'm not crazy about what they're doing now, I'm sorry. So these were what I call the historical N.A.S. noise statement from the early 2000 to 2005-7, let's say. And there were, the last one were still on the market a few years ago. well, Lafroig Quadoc still exists, and thank you for that, Lafroig, Mr. Campbell. But yeah, what's going on now to go further in that topic? So now there's, I would say, the best and the worst about N.A.S. I won't be like some reviewers say, oh, it is N.A.S. now, I won't cover any N.A.S., I won't taste any N.A.S., etc. I don't want to be so, I mean, so rigid about it, let's say. Sorry, guys. um, so when I see its wood technology and to sell whiskey a bit more higher than before, and with a higher price, with obviously when you taste it less quality, less age, then I get a bit annoyed by that. And alas, I have a few examples of that as well to show you. So probably one of the worst examples in my opinion, and it's a distillery I like a lot, it's the Glenlivet Founders Reserve. Founders Reserve reduced to 40%, not the one I tasted at the distillery, which was an old cask strength and very limited edition. This kind of Singleton of the Huff Town, well, it's not bad, but it's very average. Talisker Sky, at the beginning I hated it, and then I got used to it, and according to, you know, different tasting, different batches can be interesting. So it's a good mixer, good blenders, whiskey, but I prefer the old 10 years old. Around the, to speak again about the good ones, but for now, to give you people some hope, I would say two categories. There, I would say the clever, half industrial and with some family-owned distillery work, or you know, some clever wood policy, etc. You can have companies that are not so small and that does beautiful work. It could be controversial, and it varies from the expressions. For instance, when you take Highland Park, I didn't like the dark origins, that I found there was unbalanced and too much woody and spicy, and clearly in the wood technology category. Whereas this one for me is more interesting. It's the Valkyrie from 2017 Valhalla collection, and yeah, 45.9. Yeah, this one delivers a beautiful palette, beautiful balanced flavors, slightly peated, but you know, could have been better. But I think it's a really lovely lovely whiskey that still has the Highland Park trademark. So this is about the big companies, but we still have a nice example, and I'm glad about that. And probably one of the best values, single malt values in the market. It's the Elgin Classic from Glen Moray. Yes, it's 40%. Yes, it's chill filtered. Yes, it's colored. But I think it's well made. It's a beautiful aperitif and doesn't let you down. Now a bit smaller companies. Aaron. The finishing series, I didn't taste them all, but I have some samples from some to taste. But this Madeira cask finish for me is absolutely lovely and really stands out among the no age statement whiskies. Earlier this year I awarded Lot 40 the cask strength expression, as well as this one, the reduced to 43%. This is for me, when you leave the Scottish and Irish territory, I mean the Europe, this is one of the best no-age statement in the market, and probably for 35 and so euros the best value concerning Northern American whiskies, in my opinion. And not far from it, another beautiful whiskey who cannot be called bourbon because the mash bill is a bit different and balanced between the rye, the corn and other ingredients. And this is the sour mash from Mictus, which is absolutely lovely and smoothie and balanced whiskey. Highly recommended. Getting now to blended malts. I could name a lot. Of course, I could name Compass Box, but in order not to sound biased, I won't choose them for this review, especially first review. Besides, I'm going to do a special topic about it on the website for the almost 20th anniversary. I shall speak about Rock Oyster, sorry. They're reduced to 46.8. Now I understand why reviewers are looking at their bottles, because it's difficult to remember everything when you're on camera. Kudos to the others. So yeah, a lovely blend of islands, Scottish islands, distilleries, whiskies. Very lightly and smoky, but just, you know, what it takes to stand out from other blended malts, and be maritime and be smoky and be well balanced, and a beautiful aperitif as well. On the indie bottling side of the things, I ordered this recently, Port Ascot 100 proof. So I won't be long about it. Just let's say it's most probably, Corlila 7 years old, 57.1%. Absolutely awesome stuff for pit lovers. No comment. Smaller Scottish distillery, Kilchoman Saneg. That's for me more interesting than the Mahir Bay, even if the Mahir Bay may have an old bottling, but it's better now, I think, than earlier batches. It's older as well. You see, it's still a no-age statement, but there's absolutely lovely whiskies. To be more democratic now, that means under 30 euros or almost. We also have blends. Hanky Bannister, sorry for the image, that's not very good. Hanky Bannister Heritage Blend, that's 46% unchill filtered. Okay. Then it's March, it's the Irish month, so to all my Irish viewers, a big hi. Jameson Cask Mates, finished in Stout beer cask. Absolutely very well made blended whiskey. Better for me than the original regular Jameson. That's bland as hell. Then if we go to young distilleries, we have to mention Wolfburn, a Northern Ireland distillery that's really does a beautiful job with only 3 to 4 years old whiskies in there. So yes, I have to point out that when it comes to young distilleries, they have to provide stocks, and if the demand is high, they can be blocked to release their whiskies if they have to put an age statement on it. So I perfectly understand they don't do that until they are sure they can provide stocks. That was the problem, for instance, with Kilkerran from Glengyle Distillery. We had to wait a lot of years to release a 12 years old, now an 8 years old, and well, you know, it's a difficult question, cask management. Because I'm French, I also have to speak about this from Varangem Company, Brittany Distillery, the Armory Classic, which is a N.A.S statement as well, as almost 7 years old, I heard. A lovely whiskey, which is specifically French, with some, briny notes. There's not peat in there, but it's a bit, coastal and also spicy, woody, and fruity with cooked apples, notes, stuff like that. It's state balance, it's not over woody, etc. But it's a lovely whiskey and one of the most interesting probably to try in blind. And you could fool some people. Another Glenarmor, which is one of the oldest as well, 1999. French producing distillery. The previous one I showed you, the Armorique, was older in releasing single malts. This one's a bit younger, but still, you have around 4 years old. Absolutely wonderful stuff. On floral and fruity and a bit coastal notes as well. There's a peated version called a Cornog. This one is unpeated. If we go to India, we can also mention Amrit Fusion or this Paul John Edited, which is delicately spicy, a bit oriental flavors in there, and beautiful whiskey, slightly peated, a bit like the Fusion. These two are fantastic stuff and great values. So I don't want to be too long with that. Two other examples to give hope to some people who say it was better before, like I do often. Sorry guys. Yoichi, who cannot release a 10 or 12 years old anymore since there's a big shortage of casks. They have released this a few years ago and I think it's pretty interesting. It can rival a bit with the 10 years old in my opinion. I used to have the 10, 12, etc. So I know I've been tasting this for a long time, this distillery. So I can recommend this. Unless the price tag should not be increased otherwise. And last but not least, the future of world whiskey, in my opinion, Westland. Playing with cereals, with the different, it's a single malt, it's not a bourbon, mind you. Playing with the way the different varieties of barley are mixed together, how much they are, toasted, or they go until 5 different types of, barley, and also they have a cask policy that's interesting. They're now using, for some expressions, local oak, native oak, what they call Gariana, to do special releases. They will also release whiskies soon with the local peat, because they have discovered peat bogs in the area. Peat bogs that they're gonna use, so make it more local. So yeah, I think the future is very well with crafted distillery, really crafted distillery from all over the world, from Scotland with the RBK, Lindor, what else? There's so many. In the US as well with Westland and with other brands. So that's it, already more than 20 minutes. I wanted this to be shorter, but so yes, you can have old no-age statement and you can have young ones. If it's well made, if it's well crafted, once again, it can be absolutely lovely, because it helps producers and master blenders to use different type of cask and get this together for a wide array of flavors and more depth. This is in the best case. For instance, I awarded the Glen Scotia 8032 for travel retail, which is for me a lovely, lovely whiskey, which is giving hope for good no-age statement whiskies. I don't have it yet, unfortunately, but yeah, this is a good example about Scottish whiskies that we must stay with a good hope about the future. Thanks for watching. I hope it was not too annoying and too boring and too difficult to see. Sorry for the quality of the image, and hope you will be there soon to watch my next video. Bye bye.